Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast, and this is my review of The Man Who Stole the Sun, a Japanese thriller drama hybrid from 1979. Now check out this premise. A high school science teacher attempts to make an atomic bomb in his apartment. Yes, this movie is very interesting, and it was quite surprising to me when I had first seen it, because numerous times throughout this film, it consistently surprised me. I had no idea where it was going. The opening half hour of this movie is quite erratic because the protagonist does things that are a bit perplexing. You're not quite sure at this point in the film why he's doing these odd little things that he does, but you eventually find out. So this definitely has some intrigue to it. Also, there's a bus hijacking scene very early on that could have been used as kind of a climax to any other kind of movie, but it's placed right near the beginning. Then we get some long stretches of scientific experimentation, which I'll get to a little bit later, that sets up the entire second half of the movie. But it does not play out like you think it will. And it's very difficult to predict where this story is going, either from the beginning of the film, the middle, or the ending. And I think that is one of the film's greatest strengths. Another strength is the theme that is presented during the later half. What would you do if you had an atomic bomb in your possession? A lot of movies have touched upon scenarios where, certain nations or radical groups have nuclear weapons. But what about a relatively normal citizen of a country like Japan? What if they had a nuclear bomb? What would they want to do with it? You know what I mean? And that's an incredibly interesting question that is explored during the second half of this movie. And the way that the film explores it is very different from what you might expect. Now, I have read a few online criticisms of this movie that kind of complain that the protagonist really does not come out and explain exactly why he does everything that he's doing. But I consider that to be a very positive aspect to this film. It doesn't beat you over the head with eye-rolling political or philosophical diatribes. Instead, it opts to use the character actions and interactions with others to give you an idea of how the main character is dealing with this dilemma that he has. In addition, there's a very specific reason why he does not explain himself, and that's actually one of the main points of the entire film. So just keep your eye out for that. It's kind of interesting. Now, the main character here is kind of an unorthodox young man who is actually quite likable and charismatic, despite showing some darker personality traits along the way. The guy interacts quite normally with his students and even befriends a hard-boiled cop early on in the film. And even when he engages in illegal activities, they are at times portrayed in a lighthearted, charming way. And that all this kind of helps to make him a relatable person to some extent. So The Man Who Stole the Sun has a nice blend of light moments, thrills, drama, and black humor that make it a very special kind of genre-bending experience. It implements tonal shifts in convincing fashion. Some viewers may be thrown off guard by the handful of completely unrealistic, outlandish moments that are kind of peppered in throughout the film. Most of the film is very grounded and realistic, at least I think so, but it does use a handful of just outlandish feats of unrealism to assist the tonal shifts and the unpredictability of the storyline. I can kind of understand why someone would dislike this particular aspect of this film, but I loved it because it creates a lot of surprising, entertaining moments, and it makes it so unpredictable and fun to watch. On the other hand, there are some scenes that are so realistic that they are gripping to behold. For example, there is a lengthy plutonium experimentation and bomb construction sequence that's performed in the apartment that this guy lives in, and it's fantastic. I think it lasted around 30 minutes long. I'm not an expert on nuclear weapons or anything, but it looked convincing and meticulous in how he constructs it. So if you're interested in science at all, you're going to love that sequence. That could be the best scene of the whole film. A few observations that I made regarding the cast of this film is that the lead actress, Kimiko Ikegami, also played the lead role in Nobuhiko Obayashi's horror comedy House from 1977. She has not been in many successful films, though, during the past few decades, which is disappointing because I liked her a lot in those films. The same is true with the lead actor, Kenji Sawada, and the supporting actor, Bunta Sugawara, who did appear in Kinji Fukasaku's Battles Without Honor and Humanity films, but not much else of note. And if you look at these actors' filmographies, they did stay relatively active and busy for the decades to come after this particular film, but there simply are not that many recognizable titles in their filmographies. But in any case, they are all very good in The Man Who Stole the Sun, so it could be all their crowning achievements, I think. Also, horror director Kiyoshi Kurosawa actually shows up briefly in this film. Actually, a picture of him shows up for a split second on a television broadcast, so look out for that. I saw, I'm watching this movie and his picture shows up, and it was a young picture. I'm used to seeing him in his middle-aged and older years, and I was like, man, was that really Kiyoshi Kurosawa? And it was when I looked it up, so that was kind of fun to see. So in summary, The Man Who Stole the Sun will certainly be appreciated by viewers who enjoy movies that are not easily categorized into one genre and are not easily categorized as being realistic or unrealistic. A lot of people do seem to complain about genre benders that have tonal shifts, but I think the good ones are an essential part of my cinematic diet, so to speak. And this film refuses to limit itself, so that's why it's so entertaining and impressive in my eyes. Now, the DVD availability of this is not particularly good, unfortunately, but you can find copies on eBay. eBay's the one site that I think still has copies of this available, so jump on that if you're interested. And as always, we'll see you next time.